come in for your glory. We will lift you up. We will come in for your glory. We will lift you up. We will come in for your glory.
I want to just read this in context, which we've been in this series. The series is called Finishing Strong. Just for you guys who are visiting with us today, and I do see some visitors, I want to say welcome to the visitors, and thank you for being here. We've been going through this series, and we have realized that God is always doing a new thing inside of our lives. That is a fact. God is always doing a new thing inside of our lives. The question is, can we finish strong on the new things that God is doing inside of our life? And so what we're doing is we're looking at the ancient text, going back to 2 Samuel. We're going to be in the 14th chapter this week. We're basically going finish strong, story about finish strong. And I have one today that I want to talk with you about on being approachable. So I want to read the scripture with you, starting in the first verse. It says, Joab, he realized how much the king longed to see Absalom. He realized what? How bad the king wanted to bring Absalom back. Absalom has killed Amnon and he's fled from the kingdom. So he sent for a woman from Tekoa who had a reputation for great wisdom. He said to her, pretend you are in mourning, wear mourning clothes, and don't put on lotions. This is what people did when they mourned. Act like a woman who has been mourning for the dead for a long time. Then go to the king, talking about David, and tell him, I want you guys to note that. I want you guys to note that. From the point he becomes king, you never hear mention of him being husband, dad. You never hear mention of him being, they rare times even use the word David. He becomes just king all the time. I just want you just to put a pin in that. Then go to the king and tell him the story I'm about to tell you. Then Joab told her what to say. When the woman from Tekoa approached the king, she bowed with her face to the ground in deep respect and cried out, O king, help me. What's the trouble? The king asked. Alas, I am a widow. She replied, my husband is dead, which is what a widow is. Let's go a little bit further. My two sons had a fight out in the field, and since no one was there to stop it, one of them was killed. I want you guys to see this now. Widow. There's no man at home. Sons get to fight. Nobody stops it. One of them kills the other one. Now the rest of the family is demanding, let us have your son. We will execute him for murdering his brother. He doesn't deserve to inherit his family's property. They want to extinguish the only coal. This is all I have left is one son. They want to take him from me. I have left. And my husband's name and the family will disappear from the face of the earth. Leave it to me, the king told her. Go home, and I'll see to it that no one touches him. Oh, thank you, my lord, the king, the woman from Tekoa replied. If you are criticized for helping me, let the blame fall on me and on my father's house, and let the king and his throne be innocent. If anyone objects, the king said, bring him to me. I can assure you, he will never harm you again. Then she said, please swear to me by Yahweh, your Elohim, that you won't let anyone take vengeance against my son, the son that killed the other son. That nobody will be able to take vengeance against him. She says, I want no more bloodshed. As surely as Yahweh lives, David replied, not a hair on your son's head will be disturbed. Please allow me to ask one more thing of my lord the king, she said. Go ahead and speak, he responded. She replied, why don't you do as much for the people of Elohim as you have promised to do for me? She's called him a hypocrite, guys. You have convicted yourself. You're a hypocrite. You're willing to give me grace that you won't give to your own family, to your own child. In making this decision, you've convicted yourself because you have refused to bring home your own banished son. All of us must die eventually. Our lives are like water spilled out on the ground, which cannot be gathered up again. But Elohim does not just sweep life away. Instead, he devises ways to bring us back when we have been separated from him. I have come to plead with my Lord, the King, because people have threatened me. I said to myself, perhaps the king will listen to me and rescue us from those who would cut us off from the inheritance Elohim has given us. Yes, my Lord, the king will give us peace of mind again. I know that you are like an angel of Elohim. Look what he's doing now. In discerning good from evil. May Yahweh, your Elohim, be with you. I must know one thing. Now he's discerning. Remember last week David couldn't discern? And she spoke discernment inside of his life. He says, I must know one thing. He's discerning. The king replied, and tell me the truth. Yes, my lord, the king, she responded. Did Joab put you up to this? And the woman replied, my lord, the king, how can I deny it? Nobody can hide anything from you. Yes, Joab sent me and told me what to say. He did it to place the matter before you in a different light. Put a pin in that. Having trouble just bringing stuff to David. Had to position it, crouch it. But you are as wise as the angel of God, Elohim, and you understand everything that happens among us. So the king sent for Joab and told him, all right, go and bring back young man Absalom. Joab bowed with his face to the ground in deep respect and said, at last, I know that I have gained your approval. Trying to gain this person's approval. My lord, the king, for you have granted me this request. Father God, we're just thankful for your presence in this place. We're thankful, God, that you are here, God, and you are approachable to us. Everyone in this sanctuary has had an opportunity to approach you and feel you and worship you today. And so, God, it is my prayer that you will begin to speak to our hearts and you would show us the areas in our life and the people in our life who we're not approachable to. You say, God, that we have been made in your image, and if you are an approachable God, then we should be an approachable people. And so, God, just show us the areas in our life where we're not approachable, the things that cause us not to be approachable, and give us the ability to become approachable at all times. We pray this in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen, and to God be the glory. Hallelujah. The presence of the Lord is in this place. The Spirit of the Lord is all throughout this place. Glory to God. I've been doing a lot of studying this week on this whole topic of being approachable. I know some of us, we realize that there are areas in our life and places and people in our life where we could stand to be just a little bit more approachable. And as I began to do some research on approachable, allowing people to feel comfortable to come to you and talk to you and ask you questions, and if need be, correct you if you need to be corrected, if need be, advise you, help you, and how sometimes we do things specifically to push people away so that we end up being unapproachable. And here's the reality. We're going through this series, and we're talking about finishing strong, and this is what the Lord wanted me to tell you. In order for you to finish strong in the thing that God has for you, it's going to require for you to become an approachable person, a person who people who are close to you. We're not talking about getting likes on Facebook today. I want to make sure I'm clear. Not talking about you getting a whole bunch of likes and having everybody to like you and love you and all that kind of stuff. That is not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is inside of your sphere of influence, that there are going to be people who are either in your life right now or coming through your life, in your new thing right now, or God is going to send them into your new thing, and that these people are people that we have to figure out a way to let go of all that unapproachable stuff, that conform world stuff, that protect yourself stuff, that guard yourself stuff, all that stuff that we do not to be hurt, all that stuff that we do not to get taken advantage of. You know, we have trust issues, and because of our trust issues, we do a whole bunch of stuff that makes us unapproachable. Matter of fact, for most of us, it's better that they never approach you than for you to have to deal with them, or for you to have to figure out whether or not discern. We talked about discernment last week, whether or not you can discern whether or not they're the right person for you or whether they should be in your life. And so what we do is we put up all these signs. We do all these things to make ourselves unapproachable. And I was looking at this because a lot of homeowners do this kind of thing. They put signs on their house, believe it or not. And I was just kind of going through and I was looking at some of the top signs that people put on their houses in order to make their house unapproachable. They want people walking by to keep walking, right? They do not want visitors. They do not want anybody to knock on the door. And some of the signs that I looked at, they're just amazing what we're communicating to the public. And the first sign I saw was this, no soliciting. And a lot of times that's like a little simple black and silver no soliciting sign on people's doors. But a lot of people are now putting this expansive explanation of what it means to solicit. I don't want anybody to come to ring the doorbell or knock on the door. Look what he says right here. I don't want to talk about politics. I don't want no salesmen. I don't want no estimates, no tags, no charity. I don't want you to come in here for any reason whatsoever. I do not want any magazines, no religion. I don't care about what you're talking about worshiping. Listen, no menus, no excuses, and no exceptions. I do not want you to come and knock on my door at all. Look at this. Look at this next one right here. It says, "Do not disturb, please." Notice that the do not disturb is really big and the please is small and it's almost in cursive. Like, what? But what people are saying is, what this person is saying is, do not knock on. I'm busy on the inside. I've got too much going on. Do not disturb. I'm probably on a meeting or something. I just don't want to be bothered with you. Do not knock on my door. Look at this one right here. It's amazing to me that you can put a sign like this, but it says, the owner of this property is armed. Wow. And prepared to protect life and property from criminal offense. There is nothing inside worth risking your life for. Would you go to a person, would you ring a doorbell on a person that had, oh my goodness. Look at this one right here. All around the houses, they're putting these 24, I'm watching you. 24 hours of surveillance. This is private property. You're not supposed to be here, and you are being filmed right now. Some of them say, smile, you're on the camera. It's amazing what we put on our houses. Lord have mercy. I saw this sign, beware of dog. Now, you'll be surprised at how many people put a beware of dog sign on their house, but do not have a dog. Or they have a little old bitty dog. And what are you warning me for? If I kick that little dog, he's going to go in cardiac arrest. Look at this one right here. Danger. This is a construction area? Your house? This is a construction area. Do not enter. Look at this one right here. I like this one right here. Danger. Explosive. keep away. Could you imagine going to somebody's house to pick up somebody dropped something off and you saw this sign? These kind of signs make going to somebody's house unapproachable. But here's the amazing thing. Some of us are wearing these exact same kind of signs. I mean, you are so dismissive of people. You just, listen, I don't care what you got to talk about. I'm talking about not just the people who come to your house and knock on the door. I'm focusing on how we treat the people, the wife, the children. I'm talking about how we treat the parents and the grandparents and the people at work who we're working with. We come in with this posture. You know, you're not wearing you're not walking around with this physical sign on, but everything about your body language, everything about that stank face that you have, everything about that says that you don't want anybody to say anything. I don't want to talk about politics with you. I don't want you to sell me nothing. I don't want any estimates. I don't want no chair. I don't want to come to your church. I don't want to have anything to do with you. We here to work and then I'm going home. In a marriage, we fall into this place of no soliciting, where we get to this place where we make a decision that, hey, I know you my mate, and I know we in this thing together, but right now I'm not feeling you. I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to talk. A lot of times married people, I'm just talking to married people right now, and I'm giving the insight to single people. A lot of times when a person is at this place of no soliciting in a marriage, you know what the other person will try and do? Try and talk about politics. You're just reaching for a conversation. This person won't talk to you at all. They are wearing a sign that says no soliciting. They don't care nothing about what you're saying about politics or what we're going to buy or what estimates we need or religion or anything like that. We begin to wear a sign that we're not approachable. Some of us, this is a big one, and God convicted me of. Some of us, we are so busy, and I know I have a lot going on, and it hurt my heart what God showed me this week, that some of you need me, but because you know I'm bivocational, I work another job, and you know that I'm not always available, that you have just decided, I'm wearing this sign, do not disturb. And a lot of times when you see me, it's because I'm having to do multiple things at one time, and so you see me in motion, and what my motion says to you, and what my full-time job says to you, and what my bivocational status in this ministry says to you is, Pastor is on do not disturb. That's what God said to me. He said, your children. Now Shaki, she don't care about what sign I wear. She'll let me know in a second. Take that do not disturb sign off. I need to talk to you for a minute. I don't care what you're doing. I appreciate that about you, because we just been together so long. We're always approachable to each other. But God did show me, my children, they've not always felt that they could approach me because I'm a pastor, and there's some things that they may be struggling with or dealing with that I maybe be on do not disturb. I don't talk to me right now. I've got to do this church thing. I have to do this work thing. And sometimes they're even saying, and sometimes I can even hear them saying, well, I didn't want to bring this to you because, you're running these tests this week at work, and you are on a call, and you got to do this thing Wednesday night and Tuesday night, and you have to do this preach thing, and then you got to work on a sermon on the weekend, and you are wearing a do not disturb sign, Pastor, Daddy. I've heard my own dad say to me, my own mom say to me, we don't want to bother you, because you've got all those people at the church, and you have all that stuff going on at Wells Fargo. You have all this stuff going on inside of your life, and you got to be a husband, and you had to be a father, and we just do not want to disturb you, because this is what generally happens. Somebody has died and been dead 6 months, and I'm talking to them, and I'm like, why didn't y'all tell me about this? And they're like, well, we just didn't want to disturb you. You're wearing a do not disturb sign. Not just that, but listen, there are some people in here. You wear a defensive sign. Everything about every encounter that people have you are constantly trying to prove you're right. You are constantly trying to prove what you said. You are constantly trying to justify. And listen, when you get in that place where you feel like somebody is coming for you, boy. You pull out all the guns. You pull out, listen, and you don't have to wear this sign, a physical sign around. It's just how defensive you are. So nobody can't say anything to you without you just having a fit, getting upset, getting offended, getting hurt, getting your feelings hurt, and just feeling like you have to prove yourself right. And every little thing that somebody says, it requires for you to pull out the gun. Some of us, listen to me. You don't wear a sign that you are constantly recording people, but you constantly let them know what they said, when they said it, how they said it, what. You remember every mistake. Let me come talk on this side because maybe y'all can understand what I'm saying. You're wearing the sign. You're not wearing the sign that you are constantly recording, but you are constantly letting people know on this day you said this, and a lot of times you repeat back. Who am I talking to? You repeat back. So what you're saying is No, that's not what I said. Or what you're saying is you don't trust me to complete the task. No, that's not what I said. I asked you how far along in the process are you? Well, you asked me that last week, and you asked me that on this day, and you did it. Do you remember when you hurt me? Do you remember when you did this thing? Because these people, although they do not wear a sign, you work with them. You know that they keep in every email, that they are constantly recording, constantly watching, because they have trust issues. And because they have trust issues, because they've been hurt now, their defense mechanism is to make sure that they are constantly keeping up with everything that everybody in their life says. And it is exhausting when you wear this sign. And it is exhausting for you to be doing this. Look at this one right here. Some of us, we're not angry, mean people, but we want people to believe that, although we Christ and Holy Ghost filled and all that stuff, that there's still a little bit of dog on the inside of me. And if you come up in here in this place right now, you're not wearing the sign, but you say stuff that make people believe that, I'm under construction. God is working on me. But you need to understand, it's danger, baby. You come on. You come up here and try and Chris Rock me up in this place, and we gonna let's turn the other cheek stuff that Chris Rock did. I'm under construction. How many people say that? I haven't gotten there yet. I'm still a work in progress. God is still working on me. So some of us, look at this. You don't have to wear this sign. People realize now that you are. It doesn't matter. The waiter may come and leave off your water. I'm talking about not your drink, not your Sprite, not your cocktail, wine, whatever it is I'm talking about just don't bring the water. Don't bring the lemons to go in the water, and you're going to explode on the waiter. You want to talk to their boss. Get me the head. Who is in the kitchen? I need to know what's going on. I said I wanted my eggs scrambled light, and they're not running. I'm just going to blow up. Many of us, while not wearing physical signs, are wearing signs to tell people in our life. I'm not talking about being approachable to every guy that sometimes you're at the gas station pumping gas, and that guy come up to you trying to holler at you, and he is in the parking lot somewhere, no car in sight. He just like he just trying to get in your ride, right? Now, you can be unapproachable to that guy. That's fine. I'm not telling you that there's not a time for being unapproachable. There's some people, hey, they can't approach you. They don't deserve you. That you should be unapproachable. But I'm talking about the people that are in your life, the people that God has put inside of your life. You got to understand this. What God is beginning to show me in this narrative of David and all that stuff that we wrote is that David has gotten to the place in his new thing. He's now the king. And now all of a sudden he's unapproachable. We remember David when he wasn't the king, right? And he just going around and staying in caves and all this stuff under persecution from Saul. And guess what at that time? 600 men had come to him with their families, and they decided to stay in caves with him and live on the ground and use rocks for pillows because they loved him so much, because he was so approachable, because he was just like them, because he had a quality, a God quality in him that drew people to them. And now all of a sudden, he's in the new thing. And God has blessed him into the new thing. And God has made him the king. And now he doesn't have anybody around him. You rarely ever see a mention of him as David. He's lost his identity. He's become this unapproachable person, a king. A king can't be approached. I do not see any record of his children calling him daddy at this point. They call him king. I don't see any, he's pushed Nathan away because Nathan has told him, listen, this thing that you did, this is a bad thing. And so we don't see Nathan at all in this story. And then all of a sudden, you got Joab, who is his closest advisor. I mean, they thick as thieves, man. I mean, they've been hanging out together the whole story. And Joab, this person that'll fight, that'll do whatever it is that David, the closest person to David that we have left to David, his family is gone. We don't hear anything about his wife, his children, all this stuff going on. Joab is his guy. And guess what? Joab doesn't feel comfortable talking to him about something that David actually wanted fixed. David actually wants his son to come back. Joab knows this. He sees this, but he doesn't feel comfortable enough to talk to David because David, some way or another, has become unapproachable to him. And listen to me. Inside of our lives, we can get to this point where for the people, I'm not talking about everybody. I'm not talking about the guy at the gas station. I'm not talking about everybody. I'm not talking about all the people that you encounter. This is not about you being likable. This is not about you pleasing people. This is about you recognizing that inside of your inner circle, in your house, your wife, your children, in your family, your parents, your siblings, in the people who work on your team. I'm not talking about the whole corporation. I'm talking about the people that you go to work with every day, that we can get to this place where we become completely unapproachable. And what happens is we end up wearing the signs that we are not approachable. And in a marriage, you get to this place, or in a parenting relationship, or with a sibling, or at a job, you get to this place where you become dismissive, like that no soliciting thing. Like, listen, I don't care what you say. I don't care what you have to say. What's on your mind, keep it to yourself. I have no conversation with you. I have no time for this. That we can get to this place where we literally can be distracted. Do you realize how unapproachable you are when you are on your phone and I'm trying to share my day with you? Do you realize how unapproachable you are? I'm talking to married people. Do you realize how unapproachable you are when you're sitting in the bed on your device with your laptop and the other person is on the other side? We don't have this problem. I want to be clear. Just trying to make it real. Do you realize how unapproachable you are when you are always talking about how busy you are and how much you have to do and how little time you have for what? For me? Okay, so I won't even bring this to you right now because you're so distracted by the things of this world that you're not even able to do the one thing that God has commanded us to do, which is to take care of each other, to love each other, to be there for each other. But we get to this place where we allow, listen to me, your cell phone. Really? Are we really going to be the couples who spend more time in the cell phone, more time on Instagram? Are we really going to be the children? Are we going to really allow for the entire dinner to be all of us on our cell phones and the only thing that we do in common is eat? Wow. And I see it all the time when I go places. I see a table full of unapproachable people in the same house, in the same room. Listen, I have seen in my house where we're in the same room watching the same movie and people are on their device during the movie. Some of us are watching videos on the TikTok during the movie. But we're supposed to be experiencing this movie together. But what we are doing is we all have the sign of unapproachable. For some of us, we are so defensive. We are just so easily agitated, so upset, so angry. We're going to just separate ourselves from you. You know, you did that thing that I knew you was going to do it. I was waiting on you to do it. And because you did it, now I'm just going to sleep on this side of the bed. And listen, I'm telling you now, there's been some nights in the Means house where there was as much space between First Lady Means and me. We were laying on the edge of the bed. This whole thing about being distant. about keeping people away from us because we have BBL, bad body language. We cross our arms, we cover ourselves with our purse, we constantly getting our stuff together as if we gotta go. We always, we're always so busy, bad body language, doing stuff, fidgeting, doing stuff to make yawning. I'm sharing my deepest thoughts with you. You bored? I'm pouring my heart out to you. You're bored right now. Now is the time in which I'm trying to give you the best advice I have to help you out. And now you're not approachable. I don't want to give you advice. I don't want to tell you. I don't want to open my heart up to you because you are not approachable. And I began to look at this thing and begin to see, like, why are we at this place where we are unapproachable? And it became clear to me as I began to look through David's life, I began to see some things. First of all, David becomes the king, and maybe he just believes through pride that he just don't have to deal with this stuff. Sometimes how we get into our new thing, and we think, okay, now I'm in my new thing, I don't have to put up with all that old stuff and the old thing. That's somebody else's responsibility. It's this level of pride. I'm focused on this. I'm the parent. You go ahead on and sit down somewhere. What you have to say, this is what we're telling them. What you have to say is not important. And sometimes what they have to say is about a mistake that they're getting ready to make. But because we sit in the seat of pride, I'm the dad or the mom. I got things together. I know what's right. Sometimes as a pastor, we get to this place where we know the Bible. And some of you as Christians, parents, we think because the Bible says something and we just say to the kids what the Bible said, that's going to fix the sexuality issue, that's going to fix the addiction that they have going on, that's going to stop them from liking somebody and wanting to have sex with somebody because we raised them in a church and it's just wrong and that ain't the way it's supposed to be. And the Bible said pride makes us unapproachable. Not just pride, but listen, I reckon that David probably had a little past hurt. I trusted this Saul. I believed in Saul. I fought for Saul. I made Saul a better person. I was a champion for Saul. Saul took advantage of me in this last season. Listen, I'm not going to let another Saul get in my life. I'm not going to let another person. We get them trust issues. We become that defensive person. We become that person who begins to dismiss. I'm not letting anybody close to me. We get distant from people. Not just that. Just making sense to anybody? Yeah. Not just that, but we get to this place. I can imagine David had some shame. Like everybody knew the mistake that he made, and so he became unapproachable. He was like, ugh. When everybody look at me, this is how we feel, right? When they look at me, they're thinking about that thing I did. And so this is what I'm going to do. I don't want people to look at me. I'm putting a sign up. Maybe that's some ignorance. This is David's first time being a king. He's figuring out fatherhood because he got taken away from his father very young. So he doesn't know exactly how to be a father. He doesn't know exactly how to be a husband. He doesn't understand exactly how to be a king. He's never been a king before, not from a kingly background. So he doesn't know anything. And so maybe he's just operating in ignorance. And sometimes we actually believe that the Cosby Show is the way that a father is supposed to be all the time. And the reality of it is that life is going to show things that your Cosby solution don't have. Life is going to present situations that being the Huxtables it's not real, guys. It's hard out here being a parent. It's hard out here raising children. Listen to me. What about this thing called impatience? A lot of times we become unapproachable, but because I'm tired of having to go through this with you. I'm tired of you we really become intolerant of a person or a thing. This happens a lot in marriages where you just get tired of a person. You just get tired of this over and over again. You get tired of a cousin calling you over and over again. I know when I see the number, he wants some money. Here come the story. Right? Here come it's always a dramatic story, more dramatic than any Hollywood movie. I mean, it's amazing. And at the end of that dramatic movie with all the explosions and everything else, I need $25 to get through. $25? That's all you need to get through all that stuff that you just was talking about? $25? Man, you oversold it, brother. And a lot of times we don't answer. Listen, when who am I talking to? When that cousin, when that sister, when she texts, when she calls, you're like, oh. Unapproachable, right? I'm not answering the text, I'm not answering the call, right? Unapproachable to somebody that you're close to and you're supposed to be approachable to. Not just that, but sometimes, listen, we get under stress. Who gets under stress besides me? I get overwhelmed sometimes. And listen, when I get overwhelmed, I don't want nobody to say anything. And when I get overwhelmed, this is the sign this is my sign for when I get overwhelmed. And Ashaki will attest to it. Now, Shaki doesn't read this sign, but man, when I get overwhelmed, man, I don't want to talk about nothing. I don't want to talk about politics. Listen, I'm overwhelmed. I'm tired. I got too much going on. Sometimes, guys, look at this now. We get a grudge. You did this to me, and because you did this to me, I'm not answering your call. I'm gonna block you. That's what the young folks say. They say, I'm gonna block you. You blocked. Why you block me? Because you did this thing to me, and I'm mad at you, and now I don't want you to approach me. I'm not gonna be approachable to you. We get to this place, as I said earlier, we get to this place where we get tired, and what ends up happening is we end up being dismissive. We end up being distracted. We end up being defensive. We end up being distant, and this is not what God wants for us. I ask you some questions to see whether or not you are at this place where you're not approachable. Here's the first question I have for you. Do the people close to you, and you may have to go and ask these people if you don't know the answer to this, but do the people closest to you, your wife, your husband, your mate, the person that you live with, the roommate, the sister, whoever it is that's close to you, do the people close to you feel comfortable approaching you? I want you to look at this because Joab is the closest person to David at this point. Closer than his wives, closer than his children. It's the only name that we see mentioned pretty much in the sentence with David, the only person who has contact with David. And he sees this thing that David needs, but he doesn't want to even help David do the thing that he needs because he doesn't feel comfortable approaching David. So what he does is he goes and gets a lady from 3 other places over, from some other place called Tekoa, from some other side of the town at that particular time, far away place. He goes and get this lady and have her to come and deliver the message. And here's the question. Do the people who are close to you feel comfortable approaching you? I know for a fact that there were times when my whole family, my whole group, my wife, my son, and my daughters are all in a room somewhere, and they're saying, yeah, we need to tell Daddy, but I don't want to tell Daddy. That's happened to me. I don't know if it's happened to you, but the reality of it is there are times at work, there are times inside of our life, there are times in the family when everybody's trying to figure out, okay, now which one of y'all going to talk to them? Because, I don't want to talk to them because you know how they get. They beware dog thing come out, they start barking first, and then next thing you know, kaboom, explosion. Not only do they feel comfortable approaching you, but let's go a little bit further. Do the people, I'm talking about the people who are close to you, do they worry about what they say to you? Like are you the kind of person that people have to be very thoughtful and deliberate, and they have to figure out whether or not this is too much information or too less information, or whether or not that it's the right time, I need to talk to him, but I'm going to wait until this time of the day because if I ask him during this time, he's not approachable. Look what he's telling her to do. You gotta couch this thing. You can't just go up there and talk to him about it. He's not approachable. He's not receptive to just hearing the truth about his life. When Yahweh sends Nathan in, he sends him in with a parable. There's something going on with David that he can't handle somebody coming in and saying, man, you messed up. And for some of us, we throw on the signs. We get in that place where when we mess up and somebody's trying to say something to us or address the thing that we need to be addressed, the thing that we need these people in order to address these things. They have to then sit down and put a plan together and a strategy, and they have to pretend and act like, and they have to tell a story and do all this stuff because we're not approachable. Let's go a little bit further. It says, do the people, still talking about the people who are close to you, feel you give more grace to other people. This is a big one because I want you to see this. What's happening here is David is giving grace to people outside of his house. He's doing things for people outside of his house that he won't do for the people inside of his house. For the people inside of his house, he is completely unapproachable on this issue. You made a mistake, now you got to pay the price for it. But for this lady, this other person, how many of you guys have experienced this in a close relationship where they're willing to give grace? I was talking to my daughter last night. People have made mistakes around us, and I've said, oh, God's going to bless you. He is a God of grace. Y'all know how I preach this thing. He is a God of grace. Doesn't matter what mistake that you make, God's going to forgive you. He has a new thing for you coming your way. But when she has made mistakes in the past, girl, you know that's shameful. You know we didn't raise you like that. You know that there's a punishment for that, and that God, and what God began to say to my spirit was there are times in my life when I am putting other people, giving other people more grace than my own people, the people that are close to me, the people that are in my circle. And what that accounts to, what that comes to is when it comes to certain things, I'm not approachable to them. And this is what I need you to get. This is what I need you to get. I need you to get to this place. Well, you understand this, that we absolutely need to be approachable. We actually absolutely need the people in our life. We absolutely need to have people close to us and people who love us. Look at what these verses in Ecclesiastes says. 2 people are better than 1. Got to understand that. You need to stop pushing those people close to you away, because having that person, having that mate, having those children, having those people on the job, having those people working together, is a lot better than just you by yourself doing it. For they can help each other to what? Succeed. The success that you need in your new thing is going to be contingent on how approachable you are to the people that God has put inside of your life, because those are the people who are going to help you get to this place of success. He says if one person falls, the good thing about being married, that every time I've fallen, Ashaki has been there to pick me up. The good thing about being a part of the family that I'm in, that every time I've fallen, my mama, man, my daddy, they've always been there. My grandmama, man, my auntie Tracy, my auntie, all my family, all my children, my wife, no matter how bad I fall, and I fall, guys. I fall now, and Ashaki has to pick me up. I fall now, and Sloan picks me up. I fall now, and Angelo or Rayshon, they jump in immediately and pick me up, because here's a reality for all of us. I don't care how good you are in your new thing, you're going to fall. And what you need is to understand that 2 is better than 1, that if you fall, that the way you're going to succeed is through other people, that, listen, if you fall, you need to have people. Listen, you do not need to be dismissive with the people who are going to pick you up. If you're distracted with your children today, they will not come and visit you tomorrow in the nursing home. I've seen it. I've sat there and I pastored through it so many times with parents who were distracted, worked hard, did all this stuff. I worked hard. I got them through college. I provided. I was a provider. I did this. I did that, but had absolutely no relationship because they were completely unapproachable for the entire time that child was going through life. And now that child is 30 years old. And after you haven't done anything at all to build a relationship that's approachable, you're expecting for that child to be approachable to you and to do things for you and to invite you and to call you. You never call your mama. You never call your dad. Well, guess what? We don't have a relationship. You have been unapproachable my entire life, and now all of a sudden, I'm supposed to just pull my brain out and put it down and put a new brain in? He says, but someone who falls alone is in real trouble. Let's go a little bit further in Ecclesiastes. It says, likewise, 2 people lying close together can keep each other warm. It's cold out there, guys, when you're alone. When you push everybody away from you, when you are the person that's unapproachable at work and you get on a project and you can't get anybody who's willing. Sometimes you need somebody to skip a step in the process in order for you not to get in trouble with your boss. And when you've been unapproachable to those people, now all of a sudden you out there in the cold by yourself. But how can one be warm alone? A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated. Hey, but when me and Ashaka, we put out back to back, y'all don't want to deal with us. Not when me and Sloan, when me and Angelo, me and Ray. Hey, listen, we might have our own issues, but we're approachable with each other. And listen, it ain't nothing for us to be back to back and do whatever it takes to get the other person. You ain't coming from my children and my wife. You ain't coming from my parents, my sisters. You're not coming for anybody. You're not coming for my members. You're not coming for anybody in my inner circle, in my circle in my sphere of influence. You're not coming for them. I'm back to back with everybody. Look what he says. Two can stand back to back, and guess what they do? They conquer. How many times have you, as a couple, conquered something that you couldn't conquer by yourself? But as a couple, as two friends, as two siblings, listen to me, as a parent and a child, you were able to overcome issues and things that should have held this person back. But because you stayed approachable and you were there for the person, you were able to get them through a difficult situation. He says, and you know what's even better than two people? Three. Expand your net, expand your group, expand your rope. Get as many people, because every time we add a person to it, we become stronger. God bless us more. It is so important for us to get to this place where we are approachable, where we take down all the signs. Everything you need is all around you. God is going to send it through the people around you. And in order for you to get the thing that God has for you, you have to get to this place where you let go of all those bad signs. Matter of fact, this is what Paul tells the Colossian church. He says, take down all the old signs. This is what he says. Put to death, therefore, whatever belongs to your earthly nature, sexual immorality, impurity, lust, evil desires, and greed, which is idolatry. Because of these, the wrath of God is coming. This is what it says. You used to walk in these ways. This is the way that you used to walk. You're no longer the same person. Listen, you can be approachable in every situation. You can take down the sign of defensiveness. You can take down that distance, that distracted thing that you're doing. You have the ability to stop being dismissive. You have the ability to change because you are no longer the old creation. You're no longer the old creature. You have given your life to Christ. You're no longer what you used to be. He goes a little bit further. He says, but now you got to get rid of the signs. You got to rid yourself of all such things as these. You got to get rid of anger. Put away that sign. You got to get rid of rage. Put away that explosive malice and all that stuff that you do to be unapproachable, the slander, the gossip, the filthy language and everything that you do. The BBL, the bad body language, that stank look on your face, and everything that you do to push people away from you, to show them that you are dismissive, that you are distractive, that you are defensive, that you are distant. You got to take off all those, I'm calling them old signs, because you are a new creation. You're no longer the person that used to wear those signs. It made sense to wear those signs for the life you were living and because you were separated from Christ. But now that you know who Christ is and now that he is residing on the inside of you, there is absolutely no reason for you to continue to be unapproachable to the people who love you, the people who are going to keep you warm, the people who are going to help you succeed, the people who are going to take care of you, pick you up when you fall. The people who are going to be with you and not allow you to be broken. The people in your life that God has given you, there is absolutely no reason for you to be dismissive, distractive, defensive, or distant from those people. You got to take off everything, every sign that makes them feel that way. Look what it says in verse 11. I want you guys to see this. Here there is no Gentile or Jew, circumcised or uncircumcised, barbarian or Scythian, slave or free, but Christ is all and is in all. I want you guys to see this. When you became a new creation, when you did what this brother did today, when you were baptized, you accepted Christ inside of your life. Now he is all, and he is in all. That every single person, you have absolutely no excuse for going off, for being angry, for being dismissive to people. You have no excuse, because the Holy Spirit, if you have accepted Christ in your life, the Holy Spirit is operating on the inside of you, and you no longer have to be distracted. You no longer have to be defensive. He's already won the defense for you. What are you defensive about? God's already paid the price. You don't have to be distant from people. You don't have to have trust issues and be filming and recording and doing all those things. You don't need a gun. You don't need to be a dog. You don't need to bark at people. You don't need any of those signs no more. And there is no excuse. He says, no matter where you came from, whether you were uncircumcised or not, no matter what family you came from. A lot of times people say, Pastor, you just don't know my family. Pastor, you just don't know my situation. Pastor, you just don't know what they did to me. And this is what I'm telling you. Baloney, baloney, baloney. Because Christ is in you. Because you have everything that you need. You are making decisions to be unapproachable. You are making decisions to be angry at people. You are making decisions to be defensive. You are making decisions to be divisive and to be dismissive and to be distracted and to be distant and every other D you want to add in. You are making decisions to not live as Christ has designed. You have everything because Christ is all you need and he is in you. Now do we have to take down these old signs? Got to take them down, guys. We got to get to this place where we are approachable all the time. Look what he closes out to the Colossian church. He says, therefore, as Elohim's chosen people, you are chosen. A lot of times we don't understand a big D word, that is, you are distinct. That God has chosen you. That you are the new creation. You're not the old person. That the old person that was unapproachable and mean and did all that stuff to protect themselves, now you just trust that God's going to protect you, and you have no reason to be that person that is distant from people who love you. The people going to pick you up. The people going to help you succeed. That is defensive. I'm talking about defensive, not to the people at the gas station trying to holler at you and get in your car, but defensive to your mate. We got to have World War III at home. Defensive to the children. Unapproachable to each other. Distracted. Too busy to pay attention to each other. Too busy to love on each other. And this is what he says. We've got to get to this place where we are approachable at all times. He says you have to cover yourself. Take off that other thing, that other sign, those other signs. Take off the sign of dismissive. Take off the sign of distracted. Take off the defense. Take off the distance. And this is what I want you to do. I want you to put on compassion. When people come to you and they have an issue, be compassionate. Listen to them. Put your device down. Respond as if you heard what they said and not thinking about, well, I already know who you are, so I've already made you're dismissive, right? I've already made a conclusion about what you could have done differently. Oh, they just seeing now what I've been seeing at home. They just seeing that at work now. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to become defensive myself and attack you as you're trying to approach me. And this is what he's saying. Clothe yourself with compassion. Don't be angry and bitter and have malice and all those signs that we saw. No, learn how to be kind. There's no excuse to be angry. There's no excuse to treat people and be unapproachable to people. Be kind. Allow for people to want to come and be in your presence. Get to this place where you get rid of the pride and you focus on humility. Like, I know I'm the parent, but listen, I'm going to humble myself in this conversation with you because you are more important than my status as a parent. Be gentle. some of the reason why we're so unapproachable is that we're just so harsh. That even when we're helping people, even when we're doing the right thing, even when we're saying the right thing, the way we it's not what they said sometimes. Many times it's how they said it, right? It's not they were saying, I'm gonna help you, but the way they said it, I gotta help you again. You done messed this thing up again. And it's not what they're saying. It's how they say it. There's no gentleness. There's no love. There's no patience. We have to take down those other signs by being people who focus on compassion and kindness and humility and gentleness and patience. And this is what it says, bear with each other. What does that mean? Be there for each other. Listen, if you fall, I'm going to pick you up. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to be judgmental. I'm not going to distance myself because you fail. I'm not going to be distracted by your fall. I'm not going to become defensive. I'm not going to be dismissive. This is what I'm going to do. You fail, I'm going to pick you up. I'm going to bear with you. When I fall, I'm expecting that you're going to pick me up, that you're going to bear with me. Forgive one another. Let go of married people. Your pastor is talking to you. Let go of every grudge. Everything you don't like about your mate, that is poison. They see the dismissiveness. They see the distracted stuff. That they see you on your phone, not paying attention. You off in this side of the house. They on this side of the house. Let go of all that. That is not what God intended for your marriage. That is not how God intended for you guys to be interacting with each other. Both of us, in many cases, are being unapproachable in a marriage, and it's just a matter of time before that thing falls apart. Parents with children, listen to me. Let go of all of this. You got to get to this place where you do not, they didn't do exactly what you wanted them to do. They may not be exactly who you dreamed. When you looked at them in the manger and you dreamed that they were going to be this person or do this thing, and maybe they're not going to be that person. Maybe they're not going to do that thing. But it doesn't mean that we now become unapproachable to that person. He says, forgive one another. If any of you has a grievance against someone, forgive as Yahweh forgave you. So this week, I have a very, very simple question for you. The answer may be hard, but the question is simple. For the people in your inner circle, are you approachable? Do people have to say things a certain way in order to address things? Is it open in your house? Is it open in your life? Is it open on your team for people to be able to come to you and say to you, hey, you're not doing this right. You need to do this different. You need to think about this in another way. Have you created an atmosphere around you of approachability, an atmosphere of compassion, where kindness rules over being right? Where humility rules over my status in the relation. If I'm the boss, if I'm the parent, if I'm fill in the blank. With gentleness, listen to me, and patience. We're bearing all things for each other, helping all these things, helping each other out. We're forgiving, and we're love. Love, listen to me. Where love and thanksgiving become the thing that binds it all together, that puts it all together. Because listen, if you love somebody and you're thankful for them, you would be approachable to them. Here's the question I have for you. Second question I have for you. How would this understanding of being approachable have changed your life? How is it going to change your life going forward? What is the Spirit saying to you? And how is your life going to be different going forward as you become the approachable person that God wants you to be? I want you guys to see this, because regardless of our faults, regardless of our issues, Jesus was approachable to us. He had compassion on me. I was a mess. He was kind to me. He didn't see being the Son of God as something to push me down and make me feel bad about myself, but in humility, through his humility, he saved me. He changed me. He transformed me. He was gentle to me. I never felt, once I understood who Yeshua was for real, I never felt condemned. He was patient with me because I made a lot of mistakes. He bared with me. He got me through some situations. He has forgiven me. He has loved me. And I want you this week to get this into your spirit. I will take down the old signs. Any of that stuff that you used to do. Any of that stuff that you used to try to do to protect yourself. I want you to take down every one of those signs that make you unapproachable to the people who are close to you. I want you to get to this place where I will take down the old signs and be approachable all the time. Why don't you say that with me? Take down the old signs and be approachable all the time. Why don't you say it like you mean it? Now I want you to say it like you believe it.
I will take down the old signs and be approachable all the time.
I want you guys to imagine, because I'm believing that as you've made that declaration in your life, that God is right now changing things in your marriage, right now changing things in your parenting, right now changing things at work and in relationships all throughout your inner circle. I want you just to imagine for a second what your new life is going to be like, being the approachable person that God has called you to do. One more thing I want to do, brother. I want to give you this. Come on up here, Brother Clarence. What you've done today, brother, is you have let go of the old way. You have let go of all the old signs. This is the sign that you carry now. Amen. What that sign says is that you are a man of compassion, that you are a man of kindness, that you're going to strive every day of your life to be a man of humility and a man of gentleness and a man of patience, that you're going to bear with the people close to you, that you're going to be a person of forgiveness, a person of love, and a person of thanksgiving. And I am so proud of you. Carry your sign with pride, my brother. God bless you. To God be the glory. Amen.